Hey guys, I'm back. This is the continuation of my vlog graphic novel review from earlier. But, I'm talking all new graphic novels. You can just jump in at this point. You're not going to really have missed out. So definitely check out my previous videos and please share which are some of your favorite reads. You'll see I've got a best of Batman, best of Superman, best of Ed Brubaker, and I'll be adding more as I go along as well. So, up next, graphic novels that I've read this summer that I think were great reads, that I want people to check out, want people to go to their bookstore or their comic book store and say, hey, do you have this on the shelf? And the next up is Lucifer. Lucifer Volume 1. This is out by Vertigo Comics, and this is actually the older version printing of this graphic novel. There's a new one that's come out that actually collects 2 volumes, I believe, at a time. Just trying to think. Yeah, maybe even 3 volumes actually at a time. I'd have to double check because, like I said, I have the older printings, and well, you can find these in a lot of bookstores at half off at the moment, which is great. Lucifer is also going to be a TV show coming out, though I'm very intrigued to see how loyal they'll stay to the subject material, to the original character. I mean, this is not a kid's story. This is Vertigo. It's definitely mature readers. And I think that, right there, even Daredevil on Netflix, but the original Daredevil, as dark as he was still a character for all ages. And I don't get that feeling from Lucifer when I read the book. That said, as an older reader, as an adult, this makes for great comics. It isn't just as simple as who throws the biggest punch or who can shoot the craziest lasers from their eyes. And in those terms, Mike Carey, the writer, does a phenomenal job with the character. Lucifer, the fallen angel, the morning star, the character was originally created by Neil Gaiman and, more than a couple, hang on a sec, Neil Gaiman, Sam Keith, and Mike Dringenberg? Maybe someone could tell me how to pronounce that. So, this character came about during the Sandman run, which I'm almost finished and is phenomenal. And then this came out a few years after Sandman had ended, when clearly there was still, a demand for what always is well-written comics, but a continuation of the characters in that world that Neil Gaiman had been kind of creating. And in that respect, I actually find this as a great follow-up. Like I said, I'm not quite done Sandman Volume 10, almost, but I jumped into this probably around Volume 7 or 8, so there was still Lucifer stuff that was coming up in Sandman. Didn't have a problem. Frankly, this makes for just a great place to start all together if you haven't read any of the Sandman stuff. And the art does vary. You have a couple different contributors to this graphic novel, and that does continue throughout the series. I think this suffers from a bit of the problem that Vertigo had for so long for me, which was that storytelling comes first, and then art seems to be a real distant second. Not that I actually have a problem with that. I prefer a phenomenally well-written story, and then my imagination brings the art alive. But in the case of Vertigo, I often found, especially the 90s, early 2000s, that scratchier art, the more, almost harder it was to be able to perceive, somehow in turn meant it was darker, grittier, more noir. I don't know. I don't equate the roughness of the pencils or the paints or just the appearance of the art to a roughness of the story or the characters. I don't see that as having to be an automatic correlation. And in that, I think Lucifer falls in the same pitfall, though not as badly, but as a number of other Vertigo titles. So, other than that, I can't recommend this enough, especially if you're going to think about checking out the TV series. This is a phenomenal read about, well, the devil who's left hell, lives on Earth, runs a bar where he plays the piano and sings torch songs, and the characters that are around him, and of course the start of this series, something big happens, and all the angels of heaven get involved, and you've got the Lilim, pronounce that correctly, the children of Lilith, and it's just a big sort of supernatural heaven-hell brouhaha that's going down. Phenomenal read. Finally, the last book I want to talk about today is Aquaman. So, I read volume 1 back with the New 52 being released and Jeff Johns, jumping on the title. And I mean, Jeff Johns, phenomenal writer. He's the guy that brought Green Lantern back from the dead. Certainly Hal Jordan revitalized that line. Went on to work on a number of other DC titles, and in the New 52, when he became Chief Creative Officer, they put him on Aquaman. And of course, in part, here's volume 2, because Aquaman had really been languishing as a title, a bit of a joke, frankly, and, well, with their goal now, we already all know about, the Justice League movie. Aquaman is a, movie character. They really sought to sort of re-empower him, and Jeff Johns does a phenomenal job in that respect. They address the fact he's made fun of, like, as in the DC world he's made fun of all the time. But they also address the fact that, in this he's a bit younger, still finding his way, but in the same turn, being younger, a little more brash, a little more headstrong, emotional, and I think it plays really well for the character. Plus, Jeff Johns' dialogue, characters, I mean, all of it is just, it's a rich, wonderful read. And what you get with Volume 2 and Volume 3, Ivan Rice, along with Joe Prada, Ivan Rice with Paul Pelletier, they come on board, and I mean, the art is phenomenal. There's no part of either of these volumes where I thought, oh, or I was pulled out of the story by any elements of it. And as much as I liked Volume 2, the others, introducing sort of a host of supporting characters for Aquaman that hadn't really existed prior to the New 52, I actually found Volume 3 to be the better read, which is a bit surprising. It's a tie-in storyline with Justice League, though you get all the elements, all the issues here, dealing with the, the rise of Atlantis attacking, the surface world, which I just found a little surprising when it originally came out, given that in the Flashpoint event that had kind of brought about the New 52, that had been precisely the storyline, so it seemed a little recycled. And that's why I didn't jump on this graphic novel as soon as it was on the shelf at the bookstore. I kind of was, waiting, finding it on discounts. But when I did read it this summer, I was blown away and really regretted putting it off. It's a great storyline, really does justice to Aquaman and his world, and I can't recommend highly enough A, anything that Jeff Johns has written, but B, this Aquaman series. Even though the New 52s are pretty much already gone, they've now done their convergence events, and DC has now said that they've got loose continuity. I don't even know what that means, but for a good read, still worth checking out. So guys, I'll be back next week. I've got tons of books to catch up on to tell you what I thought about them when I was reading, and just which ones are worth your dollars or which ones aren't. All of these I own. They're on my bookshelf. They're not borrowed from a store. So if nothing else, my reviews are from one customer to another, from one person who spent his money, hoping to either save you some or make sure that you're reading the best comic books out there. Anyway, guys, you can find me online, UYS999. I'll catch you later. Bye.